Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. My name is Tim Wilson. I am a retired CNC machinist. My best friend and I had a shop in Wanakee, Wisconsin for 23 years, and I retired in 2016. And it's allowed me time to pursue my hobbies. I'm like many of you, I have a passion for astrophotography and astronomy, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. It's a big topic, and you can only usually cover little bits at a time. And the little bit I want to talk to you guys about is data acquisition and how to organize this and get it all prepared so you can process this. So um, there's a lot of different software out there, but I think we'll start out with something that near and dear to my heart, and that's Deep Sky Stacker. You can get it online. It's open source software. Unfortunately, it is only available for Windows, and I see a lot of people. I'm a Mac user myself, pretty much, but I have kind of bit the bullet and got a laptop to do um, astrophotography with that. There's just so much software out there, especially the open source stuff, and you can usually run something on your Mac if you so choose to. But anyhow, that's what we'll be talking about is the data acquisition and the organizing of these files and putting it all together. And with that, I think we'll get started. We're ready to open up Deep Sky Stacker. And what I did, I usually do this. I love to have these things just organized. So I make a file folder. The other night I went out and did an image of the Andromeda Galaxy. And I collected probably, maybe 55 frames, something like that. Nothing too wild. And then I put them all together here, and I took the flats for it, and then the bias and the dark frames for it. And I made a video, and it'll be available on my YouTube channel. And that's how I acquired these light frames using an astrophotography tool. That's the software I use. I use that for my capture software. You'll have to have some kind of capture software. If you have a camera, you're going to want something that's going to collect these raw files, and so you can put them all together and stack them and take a weak signal and make it better. And you'll go through this pre-processing here, and once you've acquired these, you're going to go and look for the satellite images and that you might have crept in there, or airplanes, or both, and or even if your scope got bumped or something like that. And I did go in and check out my files and at least got rid of all the satellite and airplane ones that were in there. There was a few in there. But when I get into Deep Sky Stacker, I want to show you how you can register these images and then score them. And you'll see if something pops up with a low score, there's a good chance that maybe your scope got bumped. And you'll check that out and make sure the stars are round, because you're better off to get rid of something like that, a frame, and have a fewer frames and have them be better quality. And on these light frames, when I do this, and I'll cover it in more detail in that video if you choose to want to watch that, you can see it gives me the amount of time, the exposure, 120 seconds, and it's minus 15C. Well, when I do my dark files, I want to make sure that they're at the same exposure and the same temperature. That's really important because you want to the cooling it off. If you can cool it off, like with these ZWO cameras, or what, there's a lot of different cameras out there. That just happens to be the one I have. But what it does is it cools it down so you don't get so much electrical noise in there, and it's very handy. And it's really easy to keep the temperatures the same in your lights and your darks here. Just because you have a cool camera. It's a little harder to do with the DSLR, but you just do the best you can with it. And then, of course, the flats and the bias. So let's open up Deep Sky Stacker. And we'll have a peek at that, and we'll show you how some of the different settings on there. And you can see here's you have the red color and you have the dark. Well, in these red here, they're probably you're going to use them most of the time. They're the more important ones. And the nice thing about Deep Sky Stacker is it has a website, and it has a manual on there that covers all of these. So I won't get too much into length. We'll just cover the more important ones that you're going to use. A lot of them you can just use the default settings. Now, open picture files. What we can do is we'll just go to these lights, and I'm going to grab these, and we'll load those on there. And I'll check all these here, and then I'm going to register these without stacking them, just so I can get that score. And you would do the same thing, load them with this. You hit that check all, and it checks all of them. We'll go to registered check pictures, and I want to make sure that this, on yours, if you download it, it might be clicked on there. Don't stack them right away. And it'll tell you a warning, check the darks, flats, and bias before stacking. So, didn't want to do that, guys. Okay, so I'm going to double click on a picture here. And you can see it already started giving a score, so we'll click on that. And I can bring this slider up and bring that together, and we can start to see our image of that. And I could do a star count. And that's in that advanced. If I go to the registered check pictures, I can go to advanced, and I can compute the number of stars detected. It said 56 stars, which is fine. You don't want, I keep it that sweet spot around 10%. If you go too far the other way, you'll get so many stars, it'll just take forever to stack it. And so it took me forever to figure out that don't try and get too many stars with it. So, okay, we'll click that. Now I'm going to let that finish up, and registering will get our scores on all of them. And then I'm going to click on those, and we'll see what the bad ones, why they're bad. Again, I taken out all the satellite and planes out of there, and I always thought once I did that I was good. And then I learned this little trick about scoring them. Like I can see right here, here's one that's 251. So let's check that out and see what might be going on there. Why it's got a low score. And a lot of times you'll find that the stars aren't quite so round. So I know that I'm going to just remove that from the list. And I'll see if any more of them are in that 200s. There's one at 224. Oh, that's a pretty low score. Let's kick that one to the curb too. So we're going to remove that from there. They're pretty consistent, 274, 278. So I'm going to get rid of anything in the 200s here. I'm just, and then we'll remove that from the list. All right, good enough. So now I'm going to add my dark files to that, and we'll put those on there. We're going to add our flat files. Again, I say these calibration frames are so important. I just didn't do them, especially the flat files. When I started out, I would add, and we'll add our bias files here. I started out just doing lights and darks, and that's all I did. And it would get rid of the amp glow and stuff, and it would get rid of some of the graininess and things like that. But like the vignetting, even though I was using a field flattener or the that would be really apparent in there. It's just helped so much that if I got a dust bunny, a little something on a sensor or something, it really gets rid of those flat frames. I can't overstate how important those things are. And so now we got those. We're ready to go in there where it says register check, and we'll just hit that stack after registering. Now you can see select the best 100%. I'm going to do that. You could have put it at like 80%, and then what I did by kicking those to the curb there, the Deep Sky Stacker would have gotten rid of those. But you can kind of get a better understanding of the values of there. So let's cancel that. And we're going to save this as a TIFF file when we're done. You can have it do it automatically. I do it manually because I want it, instead of a 32-bit, I'm saving it as a 16-bit. And it's easy to work with there when I go to process this. I use PixInsight. If you got Photoshop, that'll do it. If you're on a budget and you're getting started, I understand that there's open source software called GIMP that you can do processing with that. So look at some of these settings, your stacking settings, and you can see the standard mode. That's just where you want to be. Average, that's just where you want to be. Same thing. So these defaults work quite well. As you get more experience, or if you get adventurous and you want to go to the Deep Sky Stacker site, they give you a good explanation what all these different things mean. You do want to make sure that you match it up though with the camera that you're using. So if you're using a monochrome or a camera, you want to make sure that you have that checked. So there we go. So there's our Bayer. We want to make sure that that's checked there. Monochrome 16-bit FITS files are raw, and or a color camera. So there we go. We'll apply that. You do want to make sure that it matches up to your camera. So now we're going to go back here and register this. We'll hit the stacking here. We've already gone through them. We want 100%. So we're going to let that stack away. And you'll see on here, it'll show you recommended settings. That green means go. It's a safe bet. If you've got those, use just those, you're going to be just fine. If you understand what use Sigma clipping median combination method means, more power to you. And as you learn more and become more advanced, you may want to choose different ones besides the recommended ones. But for a beginner, it's great to just remember green means go. Okay, so we're going to let that chew away on there. And we'll come back to it. And we're going to save that as a FITS file then. Or a TIFF file, rather. I'm sorry. All right, so let's take that TIFF file that we made, and I'm going to open that up in PixInsight. If you have Photoshop, you could do that, or maybe a downloaded GIMP. You can use that. But I won't get into the whole thing of processing in this. I say that that's a video for another time. We'll just show you what you'll have to work here with. So we're going to open up that file. That should be that M31 test. We'll open that up. And now I'm going to stretch that. And we'll come in here to screen transfer function and this histogram transformation. So I'll hit that radioactive signal, and so now I'll take that and bring that down there. that here. Clear that out. So that's what we got to work with. Now, we'll get rid of all the greenness. We can denoise this and bring out a lot of the detail. There's just so many things you can do to it. But I do want to show you that this is what you'll end up with. That's from that stacked image that we got there. And at least it's good enough to work with that you should be on your way. So really, that's all I got on Deep Sky Stacker and that, and be happy to take any questions and see if I can answer them. And again, I'll have that supplementary video and a link that you can get to my YouTube channel and see how I did acquire these calibration frames. So thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.